You see right here, it says Jennifer Harvey, made in the USA, handcrafted. This is from Chic Sparrow on Etsy.
Okay, so I leave tomorrow for Spokane. I want to say everything is ready. You like George? So here's today in Northern Illinois. If it doesn't snow today, it'll be the first day in, I think, 10 days that we haven't had measurable snow.
So today we're here with Carie Harling, which I actually get butterflies when I think about spending time with her because, well, we'll get into why in just a minute, but Carie, thank you so much for coming and just hanging out with me. This has been such a treat for me, and I'm so excited.
You can't make me all weepy right at the beginning. It's not fair. It's not fair. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for flying all this way. So.
Absolutely. For you? Are you kidding?
Oh. Well, I still don't quite grasp that, but I'll say thank you. But so the reason why I really wanted to see you in person is because I know I've told you this on the phone before, but in person I want to tell you that without you, Chic Sparrow would not be where it is today. And I know that's a lot to put on you, but it's the God's honest truth. So
thank you.
I want to know, okay, so you, was the violet notebook, was that the first notebook?
That was the first one. It was a wide violet notebook. And would it be what the classic is now?
Yes,
that leather?
Yes. Yeah,
so yes, that was the very first one. I dug
Storyteller leather, yeah.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was the very first one because you know me in that color. Love that color.
Yeah, and then, so tell me about that experience, because that was when I was on Etsy.
Yes.
And we were actually, you see where Ian is right now? That is where your book was born.
With the table that's in
With
the
the
other
table
on
that's
the
in
table
the
that's
other
in the other
room.
room. That's
Yep,
what I was
yep.
told yesterday. That I did have a moment. I just kind of sat at that table yesterday for a little while. But it is so... It's hard to wrap your head around. Well, okay, it's hard for me to wrap my head around, which is saying something. But, like, I just kind of looked at, like, that table in this house, and it's like, in what, 3 years?
Well, we're going into our 5th year.
So it'd be 5.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. That is mind-bending to me.
You and me
went
both.
from that table. That's so indescribably impressive.
Yes, and I just gloss over it because I can't fathom it, and I'm the one living it. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
well, you're doing it right. I mean, you're clearly doing it right.
Thank you. So back in Etsy days, what attracted you to Chic Sparrow?
I was looking. I started like most of us do, getting on Etsy, just looking for one particular thing. I was taking, I can't remember if it was 1 class or 2 online at the time, and I needed something to hold wider notebooks. They weren't very long classes. I didn't need a huge notebook, but a standard size wasn't going to cut it, and I wanted the option to put a lot of standard size notebooks in it. So I just got looking for cahier size notebooks, and yours was one of the first search returns. And I distinctly remember messaging you because I felt I was being a little picky because I wanted to be able to use it with wide notebooks until these classes were over. But being who I am, I'm like, well, I don't want that to be all I use it for, so can I put standard size notebooks in here too? And you were like, yes, if you want to stuff it, the spine will get thicker. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And like, you answered me right away, and you were so kind. And I had one other question, I think, but I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. Answered me right away again, and it came really quickly. Like, the whole experience was just like butter. It was just so smooth, and then it came and I was just in shock. I was in genuine shock because before that I had only had a black or a brown Midori, and that was it. So it was this color, you know, it was like, this is me. This is unique and different, and just because the whole thing from start to finish went so smoothly, I was highly impressed. And then I started putting stuff in it and carrying it around and smelling it all the time.
And you made a video.
And I made a video. I did.
Which I'm not sure I've ever actually seen the video.
Really?
Really. Also, I don't remember corresponding with you. I'm sorry. But
No, that's okay. It's not like you have corresponded with anybody since then.
But when I had to look up your order.
Really?
I was like, who is Carie Harling? Because one day I woke up, because after you did that video, I woke up to 40 messages in my inbox.
wow.
What color did Carie Harling have? And I'm like, who's
Who?
Carie Harling? And because they're like, I want the same color as Carie Harling. Which one is it? And
that's
so
too
I had to
funny.
literally go and find your order and be like, oh, okay, so she got the violet. And then and every day I just kept getting a barrage of requests for that color. So I named the color Carie Harling's Violet because it wasn't stopping. So
Which blew me away. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, I called Mike at the rink. I'm like, because you had told me, you're like, I'm going to call this from now on. I'm
Yeah.
like, no way. It's not something I've ever given any thought to. And I called Mike and I'm like, you know that notebook that I've been carrying around? And he's like, oh, the purple one? And I'm like, well, no, but that's another conversation, honey. It's not purple. But I was like,
Violet.
she named it after me. He goes, are you serious? Like, he was completely dumbfounded. I go, I know, right? I'm completely blown away. I said, apparently it's a big hit. And it's nothing I did. Like, we've had little bits of this conversation before. Like, all I did was find something that was beautiful and so durable and so usable in so many different ways. And I fell in love with it. So that's what I do, is if I fall in love with something, I show people. It's like, you're the one who made the thing that was so beautiful and durable and multi-uses and has taken, like, from the kitchen table and a gazillion different designs and all these different leathers. Like, all I did was make a video. I just showed it off
but
because it was
you
pretty.
showed it to people who hadn't been exposed to it previously, and of course they wanted one, and you told them where to get it, so they came and got it, and that just kind of, I feel like it was nitrous oxide for my for my business. I mean, it just gave me such a boost. And
I'm so glad.
it honestly did. And now we have so many employees, and you're get to go see Chic Sparrow later on.
Going to the mothership.
Yeah.
I may cry at its doorstep. That's entirely possible. I'll ask for excuses for that in advance. I may just drop to my knees. I'm home.
Yeah. Well, we don't do tours normally, but for you, I'm going to make an exception.
I'm spoiled.
Well,
I'm going to go home spoiled at least.
Well, I just couldn't be more thankful for you. And I think you were what made me realize the power of the internet, because, social marketing is very powerful. And especially when it's genuine, like the way you do it, because even if I wanted to give you a notebook, you never let me.
This has
like,
been a point of contention.
I know. I'm like, no, Carrie, I really want to give you this. And you're like, no, I'm going to pay for it. So I just really appreciate that about you.
Well, I appreciate you.
So, well, thank you. But let's talk a little bit about your planning. And I know that your channel, which you guys should definitely go check out her channel. It's Dispatches from the Frat House on YouTube. And you do a lot of flip throughs of your setups and everything because you're a very busy person. And how many boys do you have in your house?
We have a blended family, so we have 7 boys.
7. Okay. I just need to think about that for a minute.
21 down to 5.
Yeah, wow.
Crazy. It is insane. I'll own that. I will fully own that.
Yeah, so you share on, you also have, are you still doing the series of What's Your Why Not?
Yes. Yes. It comes and goes. It's one of those things that I think about constantly. Like, I'll think about it constantly, and it's almost like the well dries up. And I have to just make sure I captured as much as I could while it was there, and then I have to leave it alone, or I just tend to pick it apart too much. I think I'm just being too much of a perfectionist with it. So there have been a couple videos. I did a talk about it in the fall.
So really briefly, for my viewers who may not know, what is it?
It's so hard. It's so silly. You know, you're supposed to have an elevator pitch for things.
Yes.
I haven't found a good elevator pitch for this yet. It basically, the idea of doing what you want to do, or doing what you feel you're called to do, or what your purpose is, however you personally define that. Because for me, I don't feel a need to define what that is, but that thing you want to chase or achieve, it should be the kind of thing that if you ever get the reaction from people when you tell them what it is and they give you the why, why would you want to, I don't know, herd kittens? Why would you want to?
Why do you want to make traveler's notebooks?
Exactly. Why do you want to go cliff jumping? Why do you, whatever it is, because their journey is not your journey. So you are invariably going to tell somebody what it is that this dream, thing you're pushing for is, and somebody in the world is going to go, why? And I think that everybody deserves and has the right to have at least one thing that they're chasing that they can with confidence look back at that person and say, well, why not? And mean it, down to their core, mean it. And the more I thought about how I felt about that, the more I realized how multifaceted, like, the things you kind of have to tackle to get to that point of being able to have the self-confidence to tell somebody, well, why not? And not take offense to somebody questioning it. Like, I'm still working on that. That's why my well runs dry on it. Like, the tank runs dry because it's a journey for me. And I was just I go through spurts of being really public about it. And then I kind of have to, because I get like emotionally overwhelmed. A lot of it has to do with self-forgiveness. A lot of it has to do with clutter, like mental clutter and not carrying things around. That's where the planning really comes into it. So it's still, I don't know if that'll be a work in progress forever. It's entirely possible because it's I'm in the middle of it. So I struggle with that. Am I able to say anything about this with confidence? Because I'm in the middle of figuring it out. So should I be saying anything to anybody else about it when I still haven't figured it out?
Well, that's one of the things I love about your channel is that you are willing to share the journey with people as you're doing it. And you I think you've said, I don't have it figured out, but we're going to do this, And then you also started an online paper, which is kind of ironic.
I know it is. It's so ironic.
It's a digital magazine about paper planning.
Yes, it is. I'm still toying with the idea. I'm still tackling how to go about getting it in print without like my having to sell a kidney to do it. I'm trying. I know there's some print on demand sources that I'm currently looking into. I have that kind of slated for this summer. I can start to kind of tackle that. Once school lets out, like May, June. So maybe by next fall it might be available in print. But right now, yes, it's online because that is what my brain can manage. It's keeping it online. So it was either do it online or don't do it because I really struggled with that before I started it. I want this on paper. I love a good magazine with really good quality paper and beautiful pictures. And I love that. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do this if I can't do it that way. And then I finally kind of one day thought, well, that's kind of dumb. Like you're not doing it at all. It's just sitting there stagnating. And I wanted to do it so badly except for that one thing. So I thought, well, I can try it this way. And if I really, really hate it, well, then I put up a post and say, I don't like doing this way. I'm not going to get, well, I might get in a little bit of trouble, but I'm not going to get in life-altering trouble for it. Right. So, and I've enjoyed having it online, actually. Anybody can get it anywhere. That's the biggest thing to me. I still like paper, though. I still like paper.
So tell us what it's about exactly. What?
It's at paperplanning.com, and it's just all different kinds of articles, blog posts, videos, poems. We've had a couple of poems, which I love. You guys can send poems if you want, please, about planning, anything to do with planning. So we've had somebody do like a shop spotlight of their Etsy shop. Time management, productivity, making sure you make time for yourself, choosing a planner, one of my favorite articles was like designing a custom planner because I've thought about that before. Like that to me, like I'm in awe of what you do because I can't wrap my head around that. Like designing your own, my brain just doesn't work like that at all. So I'm in awe of that. So I just like inhaled that article like, oh, this makes sense. So it's all about different types of paper planning. And that's why the tagline is, digital inspiration for paper planning because it's not on a paper magazine.
Well, it's great. I enjoy reading it.
Thank you.
And I read it when I have time and I enjoy it. You have all kinds of people that submit articles and everything. So I think it's great. And it was one of your why nots, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was definitely like that was why I had to get over the not having it on paper because it was just like, it's driving me crazy. I'm not doing this. And I don't know what I'm doing. Like, that's been the nicest thing to be able to tell people is I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be really honest about that. I've never done it. I do my own website, but to put together a magazine and contacting other people and, you know, different layouts for things, which I'm still learning, you know, like I have no clue what I'm doing. So I can sit here and not know what I'm doing or just try it. And if I fall on my face in front of everybody, well, then I guess I fell on my face in front of everybody. It's not fun, but you know, that's why you get back up and you dust yourself off and you learn something. That's the whole point. I wasn't learning anything when it was just sitting there and it was driving me crazy. So it's been really, that's been fun. And it's getting to the point now where, of course, in the beginning, I had to go looking, of course. So I would go find different websites and I really like this post about this. Would you consider allowing me to put it in this issue of the magazine? This last issue, I did not have to do that at all. Oh, no. Every single submission that got sent on it. And that's been one of the hardest things, has been making sure I have time to scour the internet, you know, and it's like, I don't, you know, that's hard. That is really hard. And of course, some people don't want to do that, which is totally fine. So it's been a lot of, I feel bad asking you, but would you consider publishing this in the magazine? And everybody's been so great, so great. But I was so tickled putting together this last issue 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh my gosh, like everything I have was sent. I didn't have to, aside from putting out a content call, everybody did this of their own accord and on time. Nice. It was amazing.
That is so nice. So how do you manage your daily schedule? Like what does it look like for you, your day? Like you wake up and what's the first thing that you do?
I wake up and I look exactly like this.
Yeah. You just roll out of bed.
I do sparkling. I roll over and slap my glasses on my face because I am this close to being legally blind, no joke. So I roll over and put my glasses on so that I can find anything else. I make the coffee because the coffee has to be made. Usually I stick my head in Jack's door and make sure he's up because he's the first one out the door. If I'm awake, Liam's awake because he's right here at all times. So
lovely.
Yes, he's the best. He's like right here all the time. You know, make sure Jack's getting ready, make sure Hunter's up. You know, the older kids kind of do their own thing. Dakota's, he may be going to work that day, he may not. His schedule is really variable. Usually Mike leaves long before I'm actually out of the bed. So he's usually gone. And then it's just your typical day. It can be really variable depending on Liam. And as he's getting older, that's kind of starting to go away. You know, like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old kid being home, you kind of have to tailor your day around what they want or what they need. And
nap time.
Yeah, what boundaries you can draw with them versus the ones you can't. Like now I can tell him, hey buddy, I got to have my desk time for a little bit. So let's get this done and let's get a snack, and then he'll decide what he wants to do, and then I'll have like 20-25 minutes of desk time, which I'm still adjusting to getting that. I'm not used to that. To being able to plan for it. It used to be, okay, he's set, like I can do this real fast and then wait for the interruption, which means you never fully get into that flow because you're waiting for the interruption. That's slowly subsiding and I kind of don't know how to handle it. It feels really good. And it's just a typical day. It depends if Mike is on the road or not. We're homeschooling our 16-year-old this year, so he's home during the day and Liam's home during the day. One is away at school, so that's one less body in the house, which is a little weird still, and he's in his second year. A little bit of journaling, and then working with Liam with school, making sure Hunter's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and then we just kind of do our school stuff till lunch, and it's a pretty good kind of laid back, easy flow. I will close the bedroom door on him if I want to do like a podcast snippet and anchor. I will be like, I'm gonna go do this real quick, and he'll sit right outside the bedroom door and wait for me. So, and then by 3:30, 4 o'clock, it's time to start making supper. And if it's a regular practice day, Mike moseys in about then. And then the chaos begins because everybody comes home. Everybody else comes home. Wow. So it's pretty laid back.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I miss those days.
I bet you do. And it's funny because I have days where I'm just like, I'm a little stir crazy with it. I have to have some structure. I know that, as hard as it was for me to admit that. And it's so funny because anybody looking in will go, oh, really? You like structure, Carrie? Like, it's so obvious to everybody else. I had a hard time admitting that, like, I need structure. So with them being home this year.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm just remembering all of your videos, and you have it all color-coded and charts that fold out for like miles.
I know.
And I'm like, Really, you need structure.
I know, yeah, duh. It was the change from having 6 kids in 5 different schools to no longer having 6 kids in 5 different schools. Because when I first started making videos, that's legitimately what it was. 6 kids in 5 different schools. How many of them were on a bus? I cannot remember off the top of my head. I want to say 2 of them were on a bus. So I had 2 in elementary school that I had to drive because we lived too close to the school for them to be on a bus. And then we had kids at 2 different high schools at the time. So it was insane for about 2 years. And that's where all of that, I have to have a day showing me, here's my Monday, 9, 10, 11, 12, because I had kids overlapping who had to be where when, and then they had sports, and then they had part-time job, and they weren't driving yet, like insanity. So I look back at that, and I'm like, that's why I get stir crazy with the 2 laid back days.
You're like, I'm forgetting something. I just know
yes. I'm counting heads. Okay, that one's at work, and that one's at NIU, and that was like, it's just been it's been a long adjustment for me because I didn't identify right away, like, that's what I feel I'm lacking, because that was like rigid schedule because it had to be. I could not have kids late to school. They obviously couldn't be standing around waiting for me to come back for them after school, and a newborn baby, and kids in junior high and kids in high school, and that was like separate school. It was literally a hot mess. And that was when Mike started working hockey. That all happened all at once. So it was like a newborn baby, Mike is gone, and everybody's in all these different schools. Yeah. So to go from that to all I wanted was for it to be more laid back, and then it got more laid back. And I do have days where I kind of feel a little lost because I don't have that rigidity. And once I realized that's why I feel like I'm swimming a little bit. Okay, well, there's things I need to tighten up on then. So then I got better about, this is how long this task takes. This is how long this particular task would take. So I can still funnel them into the day without having to do them in the car like I used to have to do all the time.
Oh, yeah. I remember you used to text me from the car.
Yes. Like, where are you? I'll give you one guess. I am in a car at a school, or I'm in a car at a grocery store. The grocery shopping has not decreased at all.
I think one time you were texting me from the car, and then you're like, okay, got a grocery shop. And then, I don't know, sometime later, you're like, okay, and then we just picked up the conversation.
So. It's like, that's the beauty of texting, because life happens in between, but I want those conversations, and it's like, I'm not dropping you, but I gotta go in because it's gonna dump a foot of snow on me while I'm in there, and I gotta get home. And that has been the weirdest change just in like the last year and a half. And I never thought that would happen, but once I lost the enforced rigidity, I had to institute my own because, surprise, surprise, I like a schedule.
And you're a paper planner for sure.
Yes.
Like, have you tried digital planning? And
I did. I tried really hard, actually.
And what didn't work about it for you?
Not having the paper.
Well, that's simple enough.
Right before Liam was born, Mike and I each got each other, like, for a Hey, the Baby's Coming gift, we each got new iPads. And I was so in love. And I'm like, I can plan on this. I can have everything right in this one little thing that I can take anywhere. And I tried probably for a year, maybe a year and a half, somewhere in there. And for me, there's something about the physical act of writing things down, turning on that reticular activating system in my brain, that I have to have that. I have to, or I am basically just a useless human being.
Now, I remember you telling me you're really good at math.
To an extent.
Yeah, but which is interesting because my daughter's very good at math too. Well, I consider her very good because she can do pre-calculus and I can't. So therefore, she's really good at math. But so it's interesting the way, because I'm very much a digital planner. I don't plan in a TN. Don't hate me, but I just
no. You're allowed. But you clearly get things done.
She is a paper planner. And I just wonder if it has to do with, like, I don't know, the calculations of things and being able to put it on paper, and I don't know.
It very well could be.
Because she will literally look at her calendar and be like, okay, this is how many hours here and this is how many hours here, and she's like adding them up in her brain, and I'm like, no, digital, because you just scroll down and you're like, okay, done.
Exactly.
I don't want to do the math in my brain.
There is something about like the capacity to figure things out. Like if I have to think something through, to do a mind map about something, there are a gazillion ways to do a digital mind map.
No, I do paper ones.
I'm useless at a digital mind map because, and I'm like, I don't know if that's just because I'm old school. I mean, I'm not 15. So a paper mind map is what I'm used to. I don't know if it's that or just a wiring thing. Like I can't do a digital outline, I have to parse things out on paper. So having my calendar on paper, I'm a lot like Julia that way. If I look at a digital calendar, Mike does his whole calendar digital, which is great because we can all see it. Like there is a huge benefit to that with a big family. Everybody can see everything. And I'm not putting everybody's stuff by hand on a big calendar in the kitchen where if you're away, you can't see it. That's huge. But for me to figure things out, like when am I going to get this done, like how to piece those things in, especially with the fluidity of kind of our day-to-day as it is now, I don't know what it is, but I can't do it digitally because it feels too nebulous to me. If I can work it out on paper, so much easier. And I'll take Post-it notes like with all of it and just like slot them in and move them around. It's the same as I do the articles for the magazine. We'll put that one here and I'll make that one go before that. No, I don't like that. It's a tactile thing, but it's also that writing.
Is that why Traveler's Notebooks work so well for you? Is because you can make it your own?
Yes,
and
absolutely. And I've been a planner for a long time. Like that's just something I've always kind of done, even as a kid. But I've never, ever gotten close to the level that I can make things my own as I can with a Traveler's Notebook.
Yeah, because there's no wrong way to do it.
Exactly. And that is so freeing. Same thing when I learned to knit. It was like, well, you can leave that wrong stitch in that sweater. You'll be the only one who will ever know it's there unless you point it out to every human being you meet. And you can either embrace that mistake or rip it out and start over. It's like there is no right or wrong. That was such a freeing concept to me. There's no right or wrong. I can't do this wrong.
Yeah.
And there are so many things in life you can screw up, but I literally cannot do this wrong. Like that's a hugely freeing idea.
And what would you say to people who are just starting and they don't know what to do and they're intimidated by it? So
start simple.
Yeah.
Start simple and don't play the comparison game. That I feel my heart breaks. Literally, I feel so bad. You'll see people online, I got this and I got that and I went to Michael's and I put it all together and it doesn't look like yours or it doesn't look like that person's. Well, it shouldn't. It's not theirs. It's yours. And however it ends up looking, you made it. It's yours. Don't compare. There are a ton of things I would love to do with my notebook. And then I've tried them and I'm like, ugh, I can't. But to see it in other people's, I'm agog. I love it. I can't have all of it in mine. I wish I could, but my brain won't do it.
Yeah.
Don't play the comparison game. Ever. In anything.
I completely agree with you. Comparison is the thief of joy, and I think it was Theodore Roosevelt that said that first.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely true. Well, Carrie, thank you so much for sharing this. I know we're having our live video on Wednesday, which people are going to see before this. But I want to thank you so much for just having a nice little conversation with me.
Thank you.
And to all of you who have never gone and seen Carrie's channel, please go subscribe, click the bell so you never miss one. And just thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much.